All right, I promised this video, and here it is. Welcome to why the Zev OZ9 is the worst gun in the world. Now, I'm going to be talking about the Zev OZ9 series. I've bought in like 4 Zevs at this point. Sold them all, only kept the Hypercomp. I've put about 10,000, almost 10,000 rounds. I think it's closer to 8. We'll say 8,000 rounds for this gun over the course of like 4 years. I want to say maybe 3 years. It's been about 4 years. I got this gun pretty early on when they just announced it, and I was definitely on the hype train. I've enjoyed it. It has been good. There's a reason I still have it, but there's also a reason why there's not an optic on it, and it's not in my current circulation of firearms. So, as a disclaimer, I do these episodes as a disclaimer to Zev and to everyone out there. I shit on everything. I set up this format so it forced me to both shit on things and blow smoke up their ass. I do this format so that way it keeps things pretty fair, and then it treats everyone with equal opportunity because I am an equal opportunity person, all right? YouTube, you should learn a few things from that. I'm definitely poking the bear here. Everyone gets my love, everyone gets my praise, but they also get my scorn and my fury. This is constructive criticism, but I do speak in hyperbole, which means that I will exaggerate things because it's a camera. You guys can't actually feel this. I'm going to talk about feeling, fit, finish, all that stuff like that. Things are exaggerated on these episodes a little bit, so take it with a grain of salt. Of course, this is not the worst gun in the world. Trust me, it's not. And of course, it's not the best. But we're going to play to the extremes, so that way you guys can get a feeling for things that I actually disliked as an end user of this gun, and also the things that I appreciated as an end user. So now let us get into why this is the worst pistol in the world. It's the worst. Blah! Zev OZ9C. Well, for starters, the price. The price for this little bad boy is like around $2,000. Now, you can probably get it for around $1,800 if you're not doing the Hypercomp, maybe $1,600 if they're on sale. But yeah, it is 4 times to 3 times the cost of a Glock, of a stock Glock. Do you get that much performance increase? No, I argue, Your Honor, you don't. You do not get 4 times the shootability. You do get an increase, and I'm not going to lie about that. Absolutely, go see my other video on this thing. There's a lot of performance increases on this. Sights, trigger, well actually not sights, sights are okay. But the trigger, the chassis, the ports, the barrels, the accuracy, all that stuff, yes, it's very nice. Front serrations, all the bougie stuff, it's very nice, but is it 4 times as nice as that? No, not really. So why is it 4 times the cost? It's because Zev is a smaller manufacturer that can't mass produce as much, and this does have tighter tolerances than a Glock, plus it has more machining. It's a little bit better on the finish side, and it has a whole new modularity system that is pretty proprietary. So all that costs money, but you know, Zev's not eating that up. You are, as the end consumer. You're eating up all of that cost in the expense of this pistol. So expensive for not much better performance. And then leading into that, the next thing is why buy this when something like, where are you, Staccato? When something like this exists. This is a Staccato HD 4.5, arguably, and I'm not blowing smoke up your ass, arguably my favorite pistol to shoot. Outside of like a Laugo Alien or an Atlas. There's some bougier pistols out there for sure, but when it comes to duty pistols, this is my favorite duty pistol to shoot, the 4.5 specifically with that like island barrel situation going on there. The 4 isn't quite as good, and we're going to get into that later, but this isn't a Staccato video. So for a price check, the Staccato HD 4.5 around the $3,500 range, this around the $1,800 to $2,000 range. This shoots half as good as this, and this isn't even ported, all right? It is bigger, I'll give you that for sure. It is a little bit heavier, but its shootability is way better than a Glock. The best a Glock can get is still not as good as the baseline standard, what I consider the standard for 2011s. So just kind of keep that in mind. Maybe save up a few schmeckles if you're considering this and go to this, because you will not be disappointed here, whereas if you do stay here, you kind of will be disappointed. There's a big gap between these 2 different pistols and their designs. They are completely 2 different pistols, totally understand that. Striker fired, hammer fired, that whole shebang. But when I'm thinking of value per performance, value per feature set, well then this doesn't beat your 2011s or better shooting pistols out there in my opinion. Even a Walther in my opinion, just put a couple ports in it, is pretty damn good. Now you do miss the chassis system, not gonna lie, that's a nice thing, But that leads me into my other point. The chassis system isn't really as useful as you might think. It's great if you want to swap out grips. Let's say you go from like a 19 to a 17, from a, let's say a carry to competition or duty. That's nice, it's great, but hey, quick break. We're almost at 1K. It's been a month, which is crazy. I really appreciate you guys. You guys have been absolutely blasting the channel, and it's crazy. Alyssa says that it's all because of her. I think you guys just like me. So prove her wrong by liking this video and commenting not because of Alyssa, or comment something, that's like Tanner's better than Alyssa, all right? And let her know that I earned this, that I'm the gun bunny now. The problem with this approach, if you want one gun to do it all, it doesn't do everything great, right? It does everything okay, and the Glock 19 frame, or we'll say footprint, is an okay carry footprint, but it's not the best carry footprint. I've seen a lot more compact packages, there's a joke there for you, that pack more features than, we'll say, the Glock 19 footprint. So again, if you're looking to use one gun that does it all, it's still not going to be as good as, let's say, two guns who are specialized. I'd rather, and at this point in my firearms journey, I'd rather just get two guns that are specialized. One that's a competition gun, one that's a carry gun. Actually a good, hold on, stay right there. Now excuse this because it doesn't have an optic. This is like my winter carry gun. I need to go put an optic back on it and get it sighted. I took the optic off to go put it on another thing. But a good example of this is my Berettas from Langdon Tactical. So I have one that's a competition Beretta. Ooh, set up for USPSA, yeah. And then one that is my carry gun. Ooh, no optic. Wow, that's gay. And the reason I don't have an optic on this is I was doing a shoot, needed a Trijicon, and this one's not in circulation right now. It's summertime, we're carrying smaller guns. But this is kind of the route that I'm at as an enthusiast shooter. I have dedicated setups for dedicated things. I don't try and compromise by having one gun that does it all and doesn't do it amazingly, okay? And lastly, on that point, let's say I bought a Glock 48 or something like that, and a Glock, well, you can't get a 34, but a Glock 17. At that point, I'm around the $500 mark. If I'm buying used, I'm even less, around the $400 mark, and I could upgrade those guns for like a few $100, a couple $100 each. So if we do the math, you buy it at $450, we'll say you put a $200 in to get maybe barrel ports or whatever it is, a comp into each, you're at $650. All in all, you're at like $1,300 for two dedicated guns, pistols. Now you do have to get two optics. So let's say you do Holosuns or even used Trijicons, about $300 range ballpark. So now you're at what, 900 plus 900, $1,800, $1,900 at most. So for $1,900, you have two tricked out Glocks with optics or one Zev OZ9. Do you get what I'm saying here? The price point's quite insane. Now here's a double-edged sword, because I did bring this up in the why it's the best. These used drop in price dramatically. That's a good thing because you could buy it used and get it for like $1,000, which then mutes kind of the value point. But then you're buying a used gun, which who knows if the previous owner maintained it well, yada yada, you might have to replace parts. But also if you bought this new, your resellability is immediately half. At least Glocks hold their value pretty well, where if you bought one for like 600, you could sell it for around 400, 500. Zevs, it's like half. It's like, I equate it to the Nissan Altima. You drive it off the lot, it is worth half the price immediately. And it's crazy how much these depreciate. And like I said, that's a double-edged sword, because if you're getting into it, well, that's great, doesn't bother you, you buy it used. But if you are getting into it, and you want to resell it, maybe because you don't like it, it really drastically affects that trial period of getting into it. And it's something to consider, that you have to marry this platform if you're buying it used. Otherwise, you're going to lose a significant amount of money. So that is why the Zev OZ9 is the worst pistol in the world. Actually, there's one more thing. The Zev OZ9 is the worst in the world, primarily because Zev promised me early access to the FDP, and they haven't delivered on that. And freaking, what's his name, got one before me. What the heck, Zev? What the heck? All right, that's the real reason. That is my biggest gripe with Zev. Boom. The only reason the OZ9 sucks is because they don't release the FDP. Go hound them on it. But no, all jokes aside, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. The Zev is not the worst gun in the world. Disclaimer, again, I just want to make sure people understand this. Comments are going to always be flamed. It's always going to be fun. I'm using this as hyperbole, exaggerating the things that I dislike. Overall, there's a reason I still have this gun after so long. Yes, I bought 4 Zevs at this point. Yes, all of them have gone except for this one, but there's a reason why this one's here. I love it as a reference piece now in my collection because I primarily think it's the best a Glock can get. It is. And whenever I want to test the best a Glock can get against something like 2011s or whatever, I'll bring this thing out and shoot it on occasion. I think the last time I shot it was probably last month. Just to kind of test it against her. We're doing a striker fired versus hammer fired video for Alyssa's channel, and I wanted to kind of get a feel as we're shooting an array of guns. So I really do appreciate and like this thing, especially with the chassis system. It is quite useful, but again, at my point in a firearms journey, I kind of have dedicated builds. It's not that much of a pro to me anymore, but early on it was a pretty useful feature to have. And the Zev OZ9 overall is a pretty decent gun. It's not the best, it's not the worst, but it does receive my praise and recommendation for anyone looking for a Glock that's not a Glock. That's the best version of a Glock, essentially. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoy these episodes. Let me know in the comments down below if you do, or what we could do better in the format, what you guys would like to see, what you think I missed, if there's pros, if there's cons. Let me know. That's going to conclude this series, or these 2-part episode on the Zev OZ9. We will be moving on to more guns in the future. Let me know if there's a gun on the wall that you want me to repeat this format on. Nobody is safe and everybody deserves criticism, but also praise for the things they do well. I think this is a pretty fair format. One of the only fair formats on YouTube, in my opinion. But thanks for following on the journey, and I will catch you guys in the next episode.